Hey, just Jay here, and it's day 222 of the Bearded Bricks Face. So yesterday I got this part in the mail to fix my Jeep door. And you can see the plate just goes on super nice. It came with screws that I still need to put in there that are metal tapping screws. The guy gave great instructions on how to install it. I was actually thinking it was just going to be this plate and that was it, but he really did have thorough instructions on how to make it work. I was able to take out these washers and install that super fast. So that is part one of the problem, but the root of why this was happening was because of this guy right here. If you look right here, this little thing that's hanging down is a piece of metal, and that is the bushing. So you can see on the bottom it's just a little bit loose, but here on the top it's completely blown out, which made this hinge wiggle a ton. And when the door would sag down, this would be too low and then hit a ton and then put too much stress on these and ripped it all apart. So if it's not obvious already, I've already taken the door off, and I definitely look like that dude in the neighborhood that's working on his Jeep with my beard all disheveled and grease on my hands. There are other videos out there showing how to do these repairs. This is going to be kind of one of those videos because this is my vlog channel and it's not really about repairing Jeeps, but I'll give some tips. One thing I noticed is that nobody really tells you how to detach this harness from the door. They just say it's really hard. So basically what you do on this model of Jeep, on the 98, so you pull this rubber boot off of this green part, and then this green part is actually in the door, so you pull that out, and then this whole wiring harness that's connected in here comes out. The trick is there's this red tab here, and normally this red tab is pushed down. So what you do is you push really hard on this bottom side, or you pull up on this with the fingernail, and then it comes into the unlocking position like this. And then the plug just comes out. Fairly simple. You wiggle it out and it's done. Just make sure you pull this little tab because that is the locking mechanism. I know that some other models of Jeeps have a different plug here, but on this one that has this type of wiring harness, that's what you have to do. There's no way to get this pin out on the top or the bottom without just cutting that off. So that's the next thing I need to do, is just go ahead and cut this off and then tap that out and put a new bushing in here. I swear I cannot do a single project without cutting myself. I decided since I was at it I would replace some of these panel fasteners because some of them broke like this, and then this panel would flap back and forth. Well, as I was doing that, I was pushing down really hard on one of them, and as soon as it gave way, my hand slipped and went along the plastic and just slit me open pretty good. I'm sorry for all the blood and gore in the vlog lately. I don't have a grinder, and all I have is this Dremel to be able to cut the top of this off. And unfortunately, the blade isn't long enough to get back in there to be able to cut the top of that off because this door panel is getting in the way, so I just can't get the angle in there. So what I'm doing is I'm going to try to notch it out on the top, and I'm going to have to cut it off that way because the blade just isn't big enough to get in there. Here we go. It's not real pretty, but I got it done. Getting this stupid bolt out of there, because it doesn't just unscrew or anything and you have to cut that top off. That is by far the hardest part of this whole thing, and it's ridiculous. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but here is the part. You can see it's missing like a whole section here. I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. The bushing is supposed to look like this, complete ring, all solid and nice. And this one is like all bent out of shape and missing a whole side of it and super thin. And then this one on the bottom still looks okay, but I'm gonna go ahead and replace that one too because it's all loose and looks like it's missing some pieces as well. So yeah, this whole thing just these two little pieces of metal are what caused all this problem. Here's the bad one, and here's the good one. You can see that there's some minor differences right about here. That was sarcasm in case you didn't catch it. It took a lot longer than anticipated, but I was able to fix everything from these panels that were shaking, this door panel that was shaking, and the speaker in here is now attached a lot better. This plate is on here. I did have to shorten this screw a little bit, which is something that he said you might have to do because it was getting in the way of it being able to lock. So yeah, even when I locked it, it wouldn't stay locked. So I took this out, sliced it about in half, and yeah, now it sticks in there just fine, and it locks and unlocks. The door does sag a little bit still. It's a little bit loose, so I still have to lift up on the door to close it because I didn't replace this bottom pin. I only did the top one here because I'm still waiting for the final part to come here. This is just like the doorman hinge. It's this one. From what I've heard, this is a super crappy part. It's the pin for right in here. It's the one I bought, but it was the one I could buy locally. It cost like $6, but I hear that if I use this one, it's probably going to wear out in like another 3 months, and I'll have to do this all over again. So I have another part that I bought online, and I actually bought it before I read the instructions for this thing, and it's the same part that the guy that makes this recommends. A lot more expensive. It's like in the $50 to $60 range, but it also comes with both pins, and they're a lot higher quality. So unfortunately, while I got this all done today, I'm gonna have to do it a second time. But the second time should be the final fix, and it should be a lot easier because I already did most of the hard work today. I'll have to knock out this pin and that pin next time, replace both of those, and then I'll have that final fix done. But for now, if I just lift up on the door just a little bit and close, it closes perfectly. And I've eliminated a lot of the rattling from the panels and other things like that just by buying new panel clips. So yes, it did take a lot longer than I expected, and I'm much greasier and more cut up than I expected, but I feel like it's been very worthwhile and productive. Hopefully I don't do a lot of these Jeep repair videos because that just means that my Jeep isn't working well. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this as something a little bit different than what I normally do, and as always, hope this wasn't horrible.